Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Phoenix Suns have the brightest future in the NBA. Now, this might be coming up as a surprise, because when you think about the Phoenix Suns, let's be honest, you're not thinking good. You're just not. The Phoenix Suns haven't made the playoffs in what, like 8 years, maybe something around there. I know that's been a very long time, and they honestly just haven't been the best team for the past few years, despite them having a few good young pieces and everything. But yeah, I'm getting to in this video why I think they could potentially have a very bright future ahead of them, and how they could potentially be a very, very good team going into the future, in the very near future at that. So if you do like the video, any point, hit the like button and subscribe button, mean the absolute world to me. Without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing I'm getting into is going to be how they have some good building blocks to go into the future. Now, before you can really make any good team or good finals contending team or playoff contending team, you have to have a good foundation. And the Phoenix Suns have slowly but surely put that together, and I do think that they have a pretty legitimate, solid foundation right now to keep building on, and maybe to keep getting better and better every season going forward. So right now, I mean, they have legitimate stars in Devin Booker and Deandre Ayton. Devin Booker is by far one of the most underrated players, averaging over 25 points per game for the past 3 years of his career, and he has only made one All-Star game in his entire career, and even at that, it was a replacement player, meaning that he didn't even get voted in originally. He just, well, made it. He didn't even make it, which is very bad. And a lot of people will argue, well, his team is extremely bad, so that's why. Well, Trae Young was a starter on the All-Star team on one of the worst teams in the NBA. So that argument doesn't really work. And Devin Booker has been doing this longer than Trae Young has as well. So really, with that being said, Devin Booker is just a very underrated scorer and is one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. And then Deandre Ayton, he's another extremely underrated player. He gets a lot of disrespect. Now, although he's usually suspended, at least this season. When he's not suspended, he is an absolute beast and almost impossible to deal with. As in only his second season currently, he is averaging 17 points per game, 1.7 blocks per game, on 12 rebounds per game. And also, I mean, they have other young role players to go along with them, and Mikkel Bridges, Cam Johnson, and I mean, both players are very, very solid. Now, although Mikkel Bridges is kind of struggling to develop, he is still developing semi-good, and he's looking like he's going to be a career role player, but he is still a solid role player to have on your team. And Cam Johnson, well, he's having a pretty solid rookie year as well, averaging 8.1 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, on 40% shooting from the three-point line. So he has a legitimate good year to build off as well. Hopefully he'll be able to improve as he gets older and as his game develops even more. Because, I mean, 40% from the three-point line is elite three-point shooting. He's a very good three-point shooter, and if he can get just more aggressive and be able to make his shot a little bit more, or be able to move off ball just a little bit better and be a little bit more athletic, then he is going to have a very chance to be an extremely solid player going into the future for this Phoenix Suns franchise. And now let's get into the next thing. Now, this isn't really a reason why I think they could have a bright future, but it's mainly just going to say that they already have a solid team. Like, they're very solid when they're healthy. And by when they're healthy, I mean not suspended. So, I mean, when both Devin Booker and Deandre Ayton are playing in the same game and not out, they are 12-17 on this season, which might not sound that good, but in games where one of them are out, they are 12-21, and in games where both of them are not playing, they are 0-2. So if you really look at it, if they stay healthy, they would be around a 500 team, which is good enough for, like, if you're a little bit above 500, that is good enough for, like, the 8th spot, the 7th spot. Now, maybe not this year in the West because of how stacked it is, but still, if they were around there and Deandre Ayton and Devin Booker could just stay healthy for the majority of the season, their record would look a lot better than it is right now. And I mean, really, the reason I say that is because their record right now is not looking good at all, because Deandre Ayton was suspended like 20-something games, Devin Booker was hurt a few games, and then Deandre Ayton got hurt again. So really, with that being said, with how many games that they missed or didn't play, at least both of them did not play, well, I mean, that's going to hurt your team. Anytime one of your two stars can't play, that is going to hurt your team a lot. And when they miss extended minutes and extended time like they have this season, it is always going to affect your team's record. Look at the New Orleans Pelicans. The beginning of the season, they looked like one of the worst teams in the NBA because Lonzo, Derek Favors, they were dealing with so many injury problems. Now they're healthy, and now they're one of the better teams, at least going into this 8-game series thing. line where they're going to be fighting for the 8th seed, and a lot of people think if they were healthy, they could be the 8th, 7th, or 6th seed right now. So, I mean, injuries can play a huge factor on anybody, and this team, if they could stay healthy, is already very solid, and I do think could potentially, if they played their best basketball, they could maybe sneak in the 8th seed if this team stayed fully healthy. So, yeah, and now my third reason is going to be they can improve in many more ways than just one. Now, a lot of teams are either stuck salary cap wise, or they're just in the middle of the road where they're not a playoff team or they're a fringe playoff team, so the lottery pick is always bad, and I mean, they don't have too much money, they're a small market. A lot of teams are stuck in that situation. Well, the Phoenix Suns, they have money. They're going to have $25 million in cap space, which could help them upgrade in positions like small forward or power forward, which is their biggest needs right now. And I mean, that would be huge, and they have players in the free agency where they could have small upgrades like Christian Wood, Davis Bertans, Jabari Parker, Jay Crowder, or they could swing for the fences, which would be giving them Brandon Ingram, Montrez Harrell, or Marvin Bagley. Now, Marvin Bagley is a restricted is a team option, so I highly doubt they get him, and I'm pretty sure Brandon Ingram is a restricted free agent as well. So really, I think they'd be better off going for someone as like a smaller upgrade, but I do think someone like Christian Wood, who has extremely high upside, could be an extremely good addition to the team. Davis Bertans could be a great player off the bench. Jabari Parker could be decent for him, and Jay Crowder could be another good veteran to help play defense on that roster. So, I mean, all those small upgrades would be upgrades over what they do currently have. But they don't have to get better through free agency either. They're not just restricted to only doing stuff in free agency, as they have money to upgrade, and they probably will, but they can also go improve through the draft, since, I mean, most likely, let's be honest, they're not making the playoffs. Even though they did get called back, they're just not going to make the playoffs. Hate to break it to the Suns fans. So they're going to have a lottery pick, which could be barely decent. Now, they could use that to get a legit point guard for the future, as Ricky Rubio, he's not their future point guard. Like, he's just the guy they have right now. I don't think he's the point guard they want going about 8 years into the future. So they could get a legit future point guard and someone like LaMelo, Tyrese Haliburton, or Killian Hayes, who I think are three great players. Now, I think someone like Tyrese Haliburton or Killian Hayes would fit this team better than LaMelo would, but still, I mean, you wouldn't pass up on LaMelo if you had the chance. I think he's going to be very good. But the perfect player I think they could go at is Obi Toppin. I mean, Obi Toppin would fit this team literally perfectly. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. He can shoot. He can just do everything, even though he's the size he is. He's extremely athletic, extremely fast, and I just love him as a prospect. So I think if they can get Obi Toppin, that would be a great pickup, and I think they would legitimately have a big three of like Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Obi Toppin to go into the future that could legitimately be very scary once they do develop. And then they would still have Ricky Rubio, Mikkel Bridges, Dario Saric, Aaron Baines, and players like that to come off their bench, and that is a playoff team. If Obi Toppin is as good as I think he would be, they will be a playoff team if they stay healthy, if they keep improving, if they do those small upgrades in free agency and are able to get Obi Toppin. It is going to be very interesting to see how good they could possibly be. And I do think that they could be a playoff team if they stay healthy and actually do the right stuff in the offseason. So yeah, unfortunately guys, that concludes the video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Suns could have a bright future, or do you think they're not? I want to hear our thoughts in the comment section below. If you did like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye, boo. Blah.